All right. Hello, Natalie. Thanks so much for joining us today. So excited to speak with you all about life insurance. So, first, would you mind introducing yourself and just kind of letting us know a little bit about your practice and how you got involved in life insurance?
First of all, Ellen, thank you so much for inviting me to speak today. I'm very excited about that. I know no one likes to talk about life insurance, so this is a great opportunity for me. How did I get started in the business? It's funny, like a lot of us, it was sort of a meandering path, right? I went to law school to become a prosecutor. This was back in the day, more than 27 years ago. Things didn't quite work out. So anyway, I fell into the life insurance business thinking I'm going to do it for 1 year. And like I said, 27 years go by. So here I am. I think it's important business because I think a lot of people just aren't aware of the safety net that they need. That's what I'm here to do, is talk about that.
I am so excited. This is great. I get a lot of clients asking about life insurance, and I say, go to a life insurance professional because I know enough to, I almost know enough to be dangerous, right? So we have a few ideas of how do we use life insurance in estate planning. And the first one you mentioned, as we were talking before, is estate equalization. So can you tell me a little bit of what does that mean and how would somebody use life insurance for that?
So I think for most people, they think when they're dividing up their assets and they have multiple children, it's a pretty straightforward process. They'll say, oh, I have, a house, I have my IRA, I have what have you, right? And I'll just divvy it up into third. But what happens sometimes, if you take the emotional component into it, we recognize that not all beneficiaries are in the same financial position. You could have one child who's doing very well financially. You could have another child who's maybe not doing quite as well financially. So let's say you have a home and one child is doing very well, the other one doesn't have their own home. You may want to leave your house to the child who doesn't have a home and maybe use the life insurance to equalize that first child, right? So to balance it out. And I also have clients who may have valuables that have sentimental value for one child and not for the other child. And again, everyone wants to do something for all children, right? They want to equalize it, but they also want to be fair. So insurance, from that perspective, as far as an equalizing tool, it's really just an extra bucket of money so that they can make sure all their children are provided for.
Well, that's great. Now, when you talk about life insurance, are you talking about whole life, term life? Is there a difference?
There is. So whole life is, like the name, implies, it's for the whole of your life. So it's intended whether I pass tomorrow, I get hit by a bus, or I live to age 100, right? Which is just given the numbers today, that's more probable. So I'm probably going to live much longer. So term insurance typically will only last for the term of period that you're purchasing, whether it's 10, 15, 20, even 30 years. Then whole life or, universal life, so another permanent product, will last for your entire life.
Okay, so are you talking more about using whole life insurance for this type of equalizing?
So for the equalizing, I do say that because we really don't know when we're going to go, when our number is up, right? So if the intention is no matter what happens, I want to make sure that I leave X for my child or children, then you really want to do something permanent. Term insurance, I mean, the vast majority of term insurance policies, I think the statistic is 98%, do not ever pay out a benefit because we don't die during that period, right? We're not going to die before 65, typically.
Knock on wood, right?
Knock on wood. Yeah, and does it happen? Absolutely, it does, and it's for those those scary situations when it happens very prematurely. My own dad died at 49, so it does happen.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that's why it's so cheap, right?
Right. Right. Exactly. It's only intended for that small window. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for that clarification. Okay, so now what if you have somebody who owns a business? How does that get divvied up and how can you use life insurance in that situation?
So by and large, so if someone owns a business and they have another partner, we always recommend having key person or buy-sell insurance because, if you were to pass, partner sort of stuck with your spouse or children, either taking over or they're stuck trying to figure out a way to buy them out. Right? So we want to put key person on each owner of the business in case something happens. That's from an estate planning perspective. But if you're the sole owner and you have, say, multiple children, I had one client who had this successful business in Chicago, sound system business, and he had 3 kids. 2 kids were in the business, 1 kid was completely not in the business. And he said son number 2 was great and he should run the business. Son number 1 had no aptitude for the business. So his goal was, I mean, and then that happens. You hear these stories, right?
Yeah.
He wanted to leave the business to son number 2, but he wanted to leave money for son number 1 and his daughter to equalize everybody. So insurance is used for that purpose as well.
That seems really smart because, you know, we all have kids that we love, but and they all have different skill sets.
Absolutely. And you know what I'm hearing, especially now with millennials, a lot of them, when they're inheriting businesses from their parents, very successful businesses, they don't want the business, right? They want to go and do their own thing. This sort of gives them an option, you know, a plan B.
Right. I love that. Okay. So that's really good. It's kind of putting more into the pot to just allow for more options.
Right.
Yeah. Now, so you know, Natalie, that I specialize in special needs planning. And I've heard a lot of times, oh, you know, life insurance can be good in that planning. Can you give us a little bit of perspective in that?
Well, so I think in special needs cases, and you could, you know, obviously speak to this better than I can, but when there are children who have long-term, you know, developmental disabilities, we want them protected well after we're gone. And so the insurance is, again, another bucket of money that you put into a special needs trust, and it provides additional financial resources. So I think from a parent's perspective, I'm a parent, you know, I would want to make sure that my child, if she can't take care of herself, that there are the funds there for her life. Right. Mm-hmm. So that's the purpose of that.
I love that. Yeah. And, you know, I'm actually in the process of doing another video because so many of my clients want to hold on to their home, for example, and they want their child to live in the home, but there's just not enough liquidity to provide for that. So I think life insurance could be a good way to maintain the home. And that's really when you need the money, right? I mean, when you're alive and you have a child with special needs, you're providing for everything that they need. Absolutely. It's when you're gone, that's when you need the money. You know, who's going to be surrogate financial you, right?
Right. And nowadays it's tough, right? Because we're also part of the sandwich generation. So I have, you know, clients who have, you know, concerns about their parents and how you help them as they, you know, age and maybe have some health issues. And then if you have a special needs child, it's, you know, you're spreading yourself pretty thin financially. So just, again, an extra pool of funds that you're able to use for that purpose.
Yeah, that does happen to a lot of us, right? Yeah. And we want to be able to provide however is the best. You know, sometimes you can do all this beautiful planning and then, you know, and then you have a parent that, you know, that needs a lot of resources. And, and how do you work that out? Is there going to be anything left for the next generation, right?
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so you had mentioned to me that life insurance can also be helpful for estate taxes. So can you dive a little bit more into that?
That's actually a big part of my business. So I have clients typically who currently have a taxable estate, and certainly more will have a taxable estate come 2026 with the tax law changes. And the exemption goes down from, say, 13 million down to about 7 million per person. So most of my clients, especially here in Northern California, a lot of their wealth is tied up in real estate, right? So it'd be worth quite a bit of money, but it's illiquid. And so when they pass, you know, a lot of folks don't know this, but Uncle Sam comes knocking on, you know, the heir's door 9 months after they pass to say, you know, we are entitled to X, right? And a lot of times, pay up. And, you know, for a lot of folks, they don't have that sort of cash. So they're forced to liquidate assets, whether it's a business or real estate or whatever else, to pay that tax. So having the insurance in an irrevocable life insurance trust is easier, it's simpler, it's cleaner. And then that money is then used to pay for that tax.
Nice. Okay. And I know a little bit about irrevocable life insurance trust. In fact, I think I have a video where I touch on it a little bit, but it sounds like that actually keeps it outside of the estate so that it doesn't add to the estate. And then you have more, you know, a higher taxable estate, and only some of that can be used to pay estate taxes, right?
Exactly. Well, so I was talking, it's funny that you mentioned that. I was talking to a gentleman the other day, and, you know, between all of his assets and his homes and you know, what have you, he has a taxable estate now, for himself. And he said, oh, I need at least $4 million of insurance for my family. And I said, we need to put that into an ILIT, an irrevocable life insurance trust, because now we're inflating your estate by $4 million, right? So just be cognizant of that now the life insurance is just like any other asset. If you own it personally, it's going to be included in your taxable estate. So, you should just be aware.
Wow. Well, so it sounds like life insurance is a really flexible device for a lot of estate planning issues that come up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do you work with a lot of estate planners on these topics? Like how do people find you?
So a lot of times people will find me through their estate planning attorney. But what's funny, and as an aside, so when I do become engaged by someone, and maybe they'll find me through someone that they know, I get referrals from other clients, tell their friends and family about this process as well. But what the first question that I ask when I talk to someone is, do you have your docs in a row, right? Do you have your will? Do you have your trust? Do you have your healthcare directive? And it's surprising the number of people who don't have those things, right? And I think it's essential. So yes, I do get referred in by estate planning attorneys, but I also refer to estate planning attorneys for that reason. It's so important for everyone to have their documents together.
So Natalie, that actually reminds me of a really funny story. So I had been an estate planner for about 8 years when I met with a life insurance person. We were networking and talking, and at the end of our talk, he goes, so Ellen, you have your estate plan together, right? And I looked at him like, I have a durable power of attorney and an advanced healthcare directive. And I remember specifically, he turned to me, I don't know if he had his finger out, but he goes, Ellen, how can you be such a hypocrite? You're telling people to do their own estate plan, but you're not yourself. And I was like, you're right. Yes. And so I went back and got the estate plan together. My husband came down, we got it notarized that day.
Wow.
I remember. Yeah. So thank you for helping everybody to remember to get their estate plan done, because these things all work together. I love working as part of a team of
right.
professionals. You can have the most beautiful life insurance policy, but then if you don't have your estate planning together and you're going through probate, what good is that, right?
No, absolutely. I tell clients this, and if they'll say, oh, I'm not really ready to do the insurance, I'll say that's fine, but get your documents together.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. I love it. Great. Well, thank you, Natalie. So if somebody were interested in talking with you about using life insurance for their own estate planning, how would they reach you?
So they could contact me. I'm on LinkedIn, but they could email me at Natalie, Natalie, at TaranInsurance.com. Taran Insurance is TaranInsurance.com. Taran, by the way, is my daughter's middle name. So that's when people ask me, why is the name of your business Taran? And that's because that's my daughter's middle name.
Oh, that's beautiful. And do you help people all over the U.S. or in California, or where are you?
I'm all over the U.S. So for those who don't know, I moved here to Northern California in 2019. I've been practicing, my business in Chicago for the last 27 years.
Okay. But boy, we got some nice weather, don't we?
Oh, it's beautiful. Like, you can't complain about the weather, the scenery. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah. Welcome to California. I love it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Natalie. I appreciate it. Thanks for sharing all of those nuggets, those gems of information. And I hope that a lot of people reach out to you.
No, I appreciate this opportunity. This is a lot of fun. It's always fun chatting with you.
That's right. Great. All righty. You take care.
Thank you.
Hello everyone. If you liked my mom's video, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you all next time.